Hello, Professor Lin. So I'm going to start off explaining a little bit about what I'll be doing right now, and it is explaining experiment 1 and 2 from lab number 3, which is about the 7-segment display. So as you know, from your website, each of these is one of the segment displays, and including the decimal point. And one thing that was of utmost importance was getting these bits here and converting it into hex. So here we would input which ones we need. So A being the upmost one here, and this being B. So A and B, these would both be 1. And just for making this video shorter, we would make all of these in binary and go one by one up until F, convert those into hexadecimal, and then we get to the code, which will go here, and that's where we get that from. And I used the Moore state machine, which I could have used immediately, or edge detection, but I chose to go with this. So the point of this lab is to switch states if a user presses a push button. So it is automatically going to display a 0 on the 7-segment display, which it is displaying now. But if a user presses the switch, using falling edge detection is what I'm using here, the state will switch. So I have 4 states, and each time that the sequence is going, it'll change every second. So I'll show you now. So one problem I had is if I had this switching at 100 milliseconds, I used to be able to press it and then stop the sequence. But if I moved it up to a second, I couldn't. And I realized that I needed an idea or concept from lab number 1, and that was polling. So I use that idea here, and since then I can function this correctly. And where that comes up in my code is here, right? The timer, and that's something from the first lab. And here we have the masking, addressing the mask. And then here we have our pointers, and here we are moving, right, from pins 4 through 7 for port C, 1 bit, and then here it is 2 bits, and then port D, it's fine, it can stay there. And then here I have my logic GPIO, which I have already shown. And let's see if I can do this all in one video. So I'll copy this and put it to Microvision, then I'll build and download, and then I will restart it. So this code is going to be 0, and I believe this here is going to increment it by 1, and this one would reset it back to 0. So, and so the next one would be 7. If I press them both at the same time, the reset is of utmost importance rather than this one. So if I press them at the same time, it'll go back to 0. I can show that again. I can press this and then reset. If I press them at the same time, it resets because that is more important. And yeah, this code was actually quite a bit easier. As you can tell, we still use this idea from the first experiment. And it's just a couple of switches and an if statement. And this one I chose to use the software edge detection. Thank you, Professor. Have a good rest of your day.